Well, it wasn't so much why, but how, I think. And that probably applies to maybe a few people watching this video, where you end up in life. I started originally as a metallurgical trainee in BHP Newcastle, where I grew up, and I fell into the grip of the grape in a way, and had an epiphany and swapped careers. Went to Charles Sturt Uni and did wine science, and through luck and a lot of hard work, as it always is, I ended up here today. The region is, Margaret River is particularly, it seems to be particularly suited to this style of Cabernet which it makes. All regions in Australia, all climates, tend to evoke a particular outcome with a variety. In Margaret River, it seems to be well adapted to Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, and it produces a style which is quite atypical from the rest of Australia. Usually when you see Margaret River in a glass, you can go like that and pick it up. It tends to be more savoury. Often you get sort of forest berry sorts of characters and so on and so on. I don't know why that is, I just accept it, and fortunately people like it, and so that's where it is. It's a fairly benign region in terms of climate for growing grapes, and we've had a pretty good run of good vintages, but always, as always, nature plays a part and depends on the particular year, the outcome and so on. So that's how I'd say it just interacts well with that variety. Really what defines a good vintage in Margaret River is the lack of a heat wave as much as anything. And we had some warm weather, but I wouldn't call it like a searing blast, which we've had in some cases. So again, fairly benign, nice and warm, which you need to ripen fruit, and markedly not a lot of rainfall during the ripening period, so it went well for us. It was a particularly good year for reds. I think when we first started talking to Neil, it's been an interesting exercise. Obviously we're in Margaret River and Neil's over here on the east coast, and so we decided the style of wine we wished to make and see how we could move it slightly. And what we do is sometimes have parallel tastings, we call them. We send each other, we'll send samples, and we do it on Skype. And it's not a bad way to do it, actually. And so you get a good feedback that way. You don't have to physically be there. So we send the wine to the mountain rather than the mountain to the wine, as it were. And it works pretty well. And so we've tried to mould this wine into a style which Neil thinks will be, make the fit for the members. First of all, the thing you notice is that particular style of fruit, which I said is savoury and has, it does evoke forest berries and so on, and it stands right away from other wines in the Australian genre, I'd think, mostly. On the palate, it's a medium-bodied wine. It's got lovely Cabernet savoury characters, and it's got a really quite long finish. Again, I'll use the word savoury and berry, but that's the best way to describe it. I could say what it's not, but what I've said before, it's atypical of let's say the sweeter fruited Australian styles. So it goes well, with food. It sounds a little cliched, but it does. Well, I think because it's a medium-bodied wine and it has those flavours, those berry flavours that I talked about, I think it goes well with dishes that are not too overwhelming. So I would love to have it with some veal or whatever, something like that would just be perfect with it, because it's not meant to be an overwhelming experience. Maybe a little bit of duck, something like that. But again, whatever main course you would use with it needs to be just balanced nicely with the wine. So you need to think about the wine style in choosing the main course. But those two things, I'd say, I could love to sit down right now and do that. Well, I think it evokes, as I've talked about, what Margaret River is. It's medium-bodied, and it has that lovely atypical Cabernet and Merlot evolution in the glass. It's got a medium weight to it, it's got lovely length of flavour, and it's just something that we can do really well in Margaret River. That's what makes it special. It's from Margaret River, it's from a pretty good vintage, and it truly is from the region. You can see it in the wine.